Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley at sprinkledwithglitter.com. Thanks for joining me today. Today I have one color palette and 4 card projects that I think you're going to love, and they all feature some of the club kits of the month available from Spellbinders. Now these are a great value, and I have 4 of them here to show you. Now today I'm using the Glimmer kit of the month, the small die, large die, and embossing folder kits of the month from Spellbinders. But keep in mind, they have other kits available as well as combination kits. So if you're looking to subscribe to more than one, because they are a great value and they do put new products in your hands every month for you to play with, then go ahead and check those out over at the Spellbinders website, and I will have that linked below, so be sure to check that out. Now I'm going to start by using the Glimmer kit of the month, and so I am cutting down a piece of cardstock to measure 5.5 inches, and I'm going to create a trifold card, and I need it to be 4.25 in the middle. So I'm just doing a little math on my cell phone here to see where my score lines need to be, and they're at 3 3/8 from each end. So this will give me a landscape trifold card from this piece of cardstock that measures 11 inches by 5.5 inches. Now, if y'all are interested in a math lesson, let me know. I'll teach you what I did there, but just take it from me, 5.5 by 11 inches, score at 3 3/8 inches from each end, and you will have this trifold card that's ready to go. Now, you'll notice on this trifold card that the ends don't go all the way down the length of the card, and that's okay because we're going to be die cutting some of this down anyway. So I am going to take that bottom flap, what will be the bottom flap of my trifold card, and I am going to line up this beautiful tulip-themed glimmer plate that is part of the Glimmer of the Month Club from Spellbinders. It comes also with a coordinating die, 2 sentiments, and a banner die that will die cut those sentiments, and I'll be using those throughout my projects today. So I have that taped in place along that score line using the Spellbinders Best Ever Craft Tape. And I flipped that back like it's on a hinge, and I've added the Spellbinders black foil. And then I'm going to take that entire thing and place the plate side onto my Glimmer platform and set the timer. Once the timer's done, I'm going to take that out and I'm going to roll it through my Platinum 6 machine to push that foil onto the paper. And this is the new black foil that comes in the kit with the black and the white foil together from Spellbinders. And let me tell you, this gave me results that I was blown away by. They're so crisp. It's such a dark, rich black. It almost reminds me of like a toner black. It is so dark, but I was just kind of mesmerized by the beautiful results I got with this foil. So now I'm going to take the coordinating die, I'm lining that up, holding it in place with my scrap tape. I'm going to run that through my die cut machine, and then I'm going to have this beautiful die cut edge that's going to form the lower flap of this trifold card. Isn't that beautiful? I love that bold black image and the white, but we're talking color palettes today, and my color palette is not black and white. I have this really vibrant, fun, springy color palette for you that features an orchid colored purple, a light aqua, and a bright citrine green combined with black and dark gray and white and ivory in little touches here and there. And I think this is so much fun. It has so much pop, and I absolutely love that about this palette. So I took some Aqua Sky ink and just blended that on the inner flap of this trifold card. And then I hot foiled using that same black foil, the Hope Blooms sentiment from this Glimmer kit of the month set. We're not to dies yet. We'll get there. And then I did a little lazy masking with some Post-it tape, and I blended in that one open poppy down here in this bright purple. I'm not sure if poppies are bright purple, but in my world, flowers are whatever I make them. So today they're purple. I added some foam adhesive to the back of my sentiment strip and adhered that onto the front flap of this card. And I finished this card off with a little bit of twine and these Aura opalescent sequins from Spellbinders. It is the perfect touch of sparkle. Now this card doesn't bring in that bright green, but I'm going to expand the palette in the next card to bring in this bright green. And this card features the large die club kit of the month from Spellbinders. It has some beautiful dies in it that all kind of can layer together or be used on their own to create various card projects. I'm using several of the dies today to create these floral clusters and these lattices. I saved you the trouble of watching me do all of the die cutting here, and I'm just skipping ahead through the magic of television to a little bit of ink blending and some assembly here. So the florals, or the larger flowers that I'm using on these clusters, they're going to go on those bright green kind of viney pieces that you're seeing above. I chose to die cut those florals, the larger ones, from that orchid color to have it be my big bold pop, and then bring in the smaller florals in this light aqua color. And I'm just assembling all these pieces together. I love that they include not only a base piece, but an etched die as well that really adds some dimension to what can otherwise sometimes be a flat die cut. And they also include centers. Now for the centers, I'm using a really dark gray color. I actually colored the cardstock with my Copic marker. It's a warm gray 8, I believe. And I'm just stacking up. There is a solid piece and a piece with some holes to give it a little more dimension. I'm just stacking those up and adhering them together with a little bit of liquid glue. Now I'm going to alternate between using liquid glue and foam adhesive for the various pieces because I like to add a lot of dimension to my card. But keep in mind, if you don't want to add all the extra dimension, you can just stick to liquid glue. And if you want to make your job even easier, you could add some sheet adhesive to the back of your cardstock before you die cut it. And I always use like a pair of tweezers or some sort of pickup tool to help me place these smaller die cut pieces. Now for this flower, because I do want it to be the focal point, I'm going to adhere it onto that kind of viney base piece using some foam adhesive. And this entire thing, I'm going to adhere to my card base, you guessed it, using some foam adhesive. But before I do that, I'm going to bring in a little more of this ivory, and I'm using this large oval from the large die of the month kit set, or whatever you want to call it. And I am just die cutting that from some ivory cardstock. Now, the vine pieces, I did lie. I put those on using just some regular glue, liquid glue here. But this oval piece, I'm going to place in the center of my card using foam adhesive, so there will be dimension. Now these delicate lattice pieces that I die cut from this light aqua cardstock, I am going to use some spray adhesive on the back of those and adhere them to my top folding A2 size card base. I created this card base using some linen cardstock because I figured that would just add a little textural element to this card. It's got a lot of texture going on, no doubt about it, but I like a little bit of texture here and there, so I just went for it today. I'm just holding those lattice pieces in place while that glue sets up, and then I added a heavy acrylic block over the top of it to just allow it to set up. I added that oval piece in the center using foam adhesive, as I mentioned before, and added a few of those Aura opalescent sequins along with this foiled sentiment strip right in the center that says Hope Blooms, and that finishes off my second card using this gorgeous color palette. Now we're going to move into card number 3, and it features the small die of the month kit. And I love this one because it has these basic geometric shapes, but it also has these center pieces that you can die cut, and those create kind of that same sort of viney base that we had in the last card, but within that shape. And then there are these great florals that you layer on top to create some really interesting patterns. Now, this hexagon that I'm using is really cool. It could be a very cool like quilt type pattern on your card. You can see there's also a diamond and a petal and kind of this ornate ornament shape as well included. And all of them include those center pieces that die cut this pattern where then you can inlay the floral pieces. And it's pretty easy to figure out which of the florals coordinate with the die cut created by that center piece. Now keep in mind, because the center piece is separate, you can then use the solid shape to create solid shapes to either layer behind these or to just use on your card project as they are. So I created 3 of these layered up floral hexagon, and I die cut about 5 more from some plain white cardstock. I'm not going to put any florals on top of these. I'm just using them as a textural piece on my card, and I'm arranging these to where they kind of come from that lower left corner and spill off the top right corner. So I'm adding the white ones on with liquid glue and the floral pieces that I've stacked and layered up with some foam adhesive for a little dimension. And once I have them all adhered onto the card, I trimmed off the excess. And I used the sentiment from the Glimmer kit of the month to hot foil this really cool sentiment strip that says sending flowers and a smile. Place that right onto my card. I'm just holding it up at eye level so I can make sure that it's even. And then I decided not to add sequins on this card. Now for my 4th and final card, I'm just adding strips of cardstock to this white panel using some tape runner adhesive. And for this card, I'm going to use the embossing folder of the month. And I think this is a really fun way to use an embossing folder to have all of these colorful strips, but you want to place them before you do your embossing because it's going to make your life a lot easier, trust me. So now I have my Platinum 6. I have it set up and ready to go for an embossing folder. This is a regular 2D embossing folder, not a 3D. And I'm going to wipe this panel lightly with a baby wipe on both the front and the back before I place it in my embossing folder. That's going to soften up some of the fibers and keep the cardstock from cracking when I emboss this. This will be especially helpful if you're using a 3D embossing folder. So now I have my embossed panel. I added a simple sentiment and put it onto a white note card using some foam adhesive. And that completes my 4th and final card today. 1 color palette, 4 card projects. I love the way these colors combine and create just a beautiful, vibrant pop against that soft aqua. Now, last month I did something similar where I used 1 color palette for 3 different cards featuring the Spellbinders kits of the month. And if you want to check that out, I'll put a card in the upper right-hand corner of the screen right now so you can check out that color palette as well. And I think this might be something I do monthly where I take 1 color palette and create several cards using that color palette. Let me know in the comments below if that's something that you're interested in, and also let me know in the comments which of these 4 cards is your favorite. Now, as always, I will have links to the featured products used in these projects in the description at YouTube, so if you're looking for something in particular, be sure you check there. Or you can head on over to my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com. I'll have that linked below as well. Over there, you'll find more still shots, more information, and a complete list of supplies. As always, I want to thank you for stopping by and hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed these projects, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications here on my YouTube channel so you don't miss any of my paper crafting and card making video tutorials. And if you loved this video, I would love it if you would share it with a friend. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the very end. You know, if you've made it this far, you are one of my favorites. If you want to subscribe to my channel, go ahead and click my face on the left side of the screen. And here are a couple more video tutorials I thought you might enjoy.